everyone, welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're back for another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today with us, she's a returning guest. She has a new book out right now that's called Haven Horror. Welcome back,
Mm.
Hoku Sorci. Hoku, welcome back to the Horror
Hi!
Room.
I'm so excited to be back.
I know, our first interview was so much fun, and I'm glad
It
we're
was.
back to the second one. All right, so tell us a little bit about your book, The Haven Horror.
So it's a small town horror thriller. It's got sort of like a slow burn to it. Nothing really happens in the beginning. It's a lot of building, a lot of mystery because it takes place in two time periods. So the first part of the book is in the 90s, sort of the establishment of the town and how everyone in the 90s sort of like hangs out and a teenager goes missing. And then in the present day, we have a family moving to Haven. That's the name of the town um, in the 2023. So it's like a 30-year gap between what happened in the past, what happens in the present. And as the story builds, you slowly find out what sort of horrors exist in the town.
Now, is that hard as an author to jump from two different time periods in the story?
Yes, it was it was a lot of fun, a lot of like stress trying to keep the timeline separate, keep things happening in a way that I didn't give things away before they were supposed to be known. So being like, okay, so in the 90s I come up to this point and then we jump ahead and maybe you find out a little bit of something in the present that then when you go back to the past it connects and it was like I had, like conspiracy theory like map sort of thing where everything was like, okay, here this happens, this happens, this happens, and then like drawing all the lines and making all the connections to make sure nobody no parts of the story like stepped on each other's toes or crossed things and keeping everything in line. It was like it was a really big push for me to do something like this because I prefer stories with little bits of people, like as few people as possible, like a very standard like beginning to end story. So this was sort of a test for me to see if I could one write a town, a whole
Mhm.
town full of people, and every single person felt like they were their own person. Because I feel like people are like a very weak part of what I can do writing. So this was a real stretch for me. And then so not only having multiple timelines but also having multiple like points of view where we are in the 90s visiting with different people as events unfold, whereas in the present time we stick with just one character to sort of ground us in that story. So it was it was a lot.
I can imagine. And this is a two-part question. Listen, you're a horror fan just like I am. You've seen horror movies and read horror books.
Yes.
And sometimes the creator, author, filmmaker, they, I feel like they try so hard not to give away any of the secrets or the ending. And it does the complete opposite, where as the reader or the watcher, you're able to predict it. Oh, I know this is how this is going to end. And you're 100% correct every single time. Is that something like that's hard to do as an author to like? I mean, I imagine it's something that must drive you nuts. Like, oh my God, is this predictable? Am I giving anything away? Is this going to be one of these books where people can predict the outcome a couple chapters in?
Yes, that was like a very big part of writing this story was one to keep you wanting to know what happens and to keep you in the dark about what happens, for the most part, because I tried to put little tidbits, little you know, things that I thought if you read this part, then later on you'd be like, oh, that's what that was in reference to. So I tried to have little breadcrumbs sprinkled throughout where if once you get to the end, you realize, oh, it was right there. It was like it was there if you like figured it out. But at the same time, I wanted to make it to where you would be surprised when you get to the end, what's really going on, what's happening, what the main antagonist, I guess you could say, is. So I totally get what you mean about like movies where 10 minutes and you're like, oh, he did it,
Yeah.
or oh, I'll bet that's what the twist is, oh, you know
Mhm.
what? It's a ghost. It's definitely a ghost. And then
Yep.
so I tried really hard to make it to where if I would not like if I reading this I could not figure out what was going on, I hoped that that meant other people would also be surprised. Not in the way that they would be like, "Oh, that's the ending." I hope not. I hope it's big enough and surprising enough and also gory enough that people go, "Oh, oh, that's what it was." Oh. I'd really like a reaction of, and so far with the ARC readers I've had, they've all been very kind and not giving away the ending, but also saying like, "I did not see that coming." So I've been really happy with that.
Why do you feel like it's hard for a lot of authors to? I mean, they have a great. I read so many books where it's a great story from beginning to middle and gets to the end, and the ending is just not symmetrical. It doesn't like wow, boy. I mean, but you see that with movie, TV shows, and everything. Like, what is that? I mean, you build the tension all the way up, and you give the reader or the watcher everything they want, but the ending, oh, the ending can kill you.
Oh yeah, totally. There have been so many times where I've been like, this book is amazing. Oh man, I'm like 5 stars all the way. It's building, it's perfectly like the tension, the the cinematic feeling of it. I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. And then it gets to the end, you're like, wait, that's it? That's what it was. It is really disappointing when the ending is kind of a letdown where it doesn't go as like as hard as you wanted it to, as scary as you wanted it to, like as crazy as you wanted it to. It's like I want to be surprised. I want to be um shown something I've never seen before. So, when you read a book and the whole time you're like, so the house is haunted. Is the house haunted? Is that what it is? The house haunted? I'm like, please be something other than the house is haunted. And it's like, and the house is haunted. I'm like, oh, come on.
You're like,
Like,
ah,
really?
damn.
Anything else, please. Like, I actually like the ones where it's like the house is haunted. I'm like, really? The house haunted? It's a guy living in the walls. I'm like, yes, something different. Like, even though I've seen guy living in the walls a few times, still it's different than house is haunted. So I'm like, yes, thank you. It was something other than the house is haunted, or it's the guy in the walls, and it's the haunted house because the ghost is getting him to do stuff. Like, ah, yes, thank you. Something like new or something like that just a teeny bit different because so many books, especially when you're doing one that a lot of people have done. For mine, it's small town horror, it's cult, it's been done before. So it was really important to me to be like, okay, what have I never seen before as far as like, what is the reason behind this? So that is what I tried to do. And even ones that are similar, like I recently read Black River Orchard by Chuck Wendig, which at least one or two people are like, did you read this before your book came out? I was like, no, I've never read it. And then I finally read it. I was like, oh yes, okay, I can see the parallels, small town horror, cult, you know, there are definitely differences, but if I had read that before writing mine, I would have been like, oh, maybe I should write something else because this was really well done and really unique and really creepy. But thankfully, I feel like even though there are those similarities, I still tried to make my own mark and I did something different.
And you bring up cults. I had a chance to read a little bit of your book, and I am fascinated with cults. I'm not a part of a cult,
Me
but
too.
I think I would be a
Me
great.
neither.
I think I'll be an amazing cult leader, but I would never be one. But like, I'm amazed with cults because I mean, in today's society, people are like, "Oh, cults are not a thing." Cults are a thing in a different way today. I feel like in 2025. I mean, you look at Facebook and Instagram and social media. There are different forms of cults. So, you know, what I mean, they suck you in. Even like I've been doing about the Face of Horror contest.
Yeah.
There's certain things, and they bring people in. We can get into politics, but I'm not going to on the show. But like, it's the cult mentality will always be with us. And the fascinating thing is the mindset of the cult leader and the mindset of the followers is they're almost similar, but they're going in two different paths.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think a big thing that still keeps people like joining cults is that idea of belonging, that idea of like somebody thinks the same way that I do, but also sometimes people just need something to follow. And when you have someone, any sort of cult leader who's charismatic, who has that way of speaking, has that way of like getting you to believe that they know you, they believe in you, they love you, they, have everything that you are missing. If you are with them, they will give you everything that you need, that you want, that you're, craving. Yeah, I mean, it's it sucks because sometimes they have very gruesome endings, or they just, take all your money and leave you destitute or something like that, or they just, you know, sexually enslave you sometimes. So
Ooh,
yeah, it's sad that it's still, even in this day and age with all of our modern technology, all of our, supposedly intellectual learning, we can still fall for things like that because it pulls at that part of you that says like, I want to belong, I'm missing something in my life. And a lot of things can fill that. But yeah, cults are incredibly fascinating because it's the idea that one person knows what you, or technically, everyone needs, right? Because they want as many followers as possible. So it is fascinating to think about, like,
it is.
not only does that person, that leader, have to have the self-assuredness to be like, I am right, I know exactly like the path that is meant to be taken, either from a religious or other standpoint. And I really wanted to explore that in my book because, I had to have a leader of some sort. And so you take a character who wasn't very like self-assured in any way, very much, a follower, and then he becomes this charismatic leader. And so it's yeah, it's fascinating.
Always fun. I joined a cult one time, by the way. I never told
Oh,
anybody.
really?
But it was not that kind of cult youth. I did the whole what's it called, the multi-level marketing. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different
yeah,
way of recruiting,
and
right?
yeah, and the one I joined was called Prime America, which is still around. It's an insurance company, but I think they're less culty now. But I remember when I joined, um, they want you to go to only their church services. They only want you to talk
Oh.
to their people. It was, and it was like, if anybody in your family or friends who don't want to sign up with you, you should distance yourself from them. It was just a
Oh.
cult mentality. And as soon as I sniffed it, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Let me get the fuck out of here.
Well, at least you had like the cognitive to be like, hey, red flags,
Yeah.
there's something wrong here.
Mm-hmm. Because
Sometimes
I
people
even
are too, yeah, in deep to
yeah,
to feel or recognize those signs.
because I even watched a documentary on Lula LaRoe, and
Oh
that
my gosh, yes.
yeah, and that was one of those multi-level, like Mary Kay, multi-level marketing scams. And they force you to tell your partner to quit their job, and they have to be a part of it. If not, you should divorce them.
Hmm.
And like, if anybody who's a naysayer, this is not a good idea. You need to distance yourself from them. Like, it's a cult mentality.
I almost got pulled into that, honestly. I had when I was younger, I had several spouse friends who my husband's in the military, so like back then, being young, being like, all these other spouses who, knew better than me, and they were in LuLaRoe, and I would go to the parties, and it was fun, it was clothes, it was like leggings, everything really nice, it's really comfy. And then it's like, oh, if you host a party at your house, then you get percentage off of like buying the products. And so a lot of spouses would do that, and I would go to the parties, and I would of course buy because I'm like, oh yeah, these are super cute. But I never got to the point of actually being like, sure, let's host it at my place. Oh, you then from there you go like, oh, it's super easy to join. You get all these clothes and you could sell them, you can throw parties, you get percentages off and then discounts, and then, getting, and then the more people you get to do it, the more discounts you get. So yeah, it was like I could see it as a slippery slope. And being young and impressionable, I was like, oh, that does sound fun. But
Mhm.
thankfully,
Yeah.
I we moved after that, and I had the few products that I bought, and I still have them. Surprisingly, they're still in good condition. But yeah, that was a really close call there. Like, if I had had probably, one of my friends pushing me to do it, because the ones who did thankfully weren't super pushy. They were just like, hey, you want to join and do this? I was like, I'm kind of introverted. I don't really want to throw parties and stuff, but I'll come and like hang out or whatever. But yeah, so it was close. It was a slippery slope there, but yeah,
Mhm.
I'm glad I did
I
get
agree.
sucked into that.
Yeah, I agree. Now, well, what most people think is, writing a book. Yes, writing a book, coming up with the idea, that's hard. But the hardest part is once the book is done. So tell us a little bit about what was your experience after the book was done?
Oh man, I mean, just getting the book done. was a trial because, you know, I went through so many rounds of editing. And then when you think the book is finally done, you then send it out to people to read because you need input on certain things. Like for me, I have a very specific, my town is set in Texas. So I like really wanted to get the Texas accent right so that you felt immersed with the characters and everything. And I had several people push back and say, this is almost unreadable. I didn't even have one person who DNF'd it because they're like, I can't get past this accent. It's too hard for me to read. I was like, oh, really? I mean, I'm trying to be authentic here. So, you know, tips like that where I was like, okay, I will meet you guys halfway. I will pull back on parts of it, but I'm going to keep my y'alls. I'm going to keep my ands. You know, I wanted to still feel like this is happening in a small Texas town. So I did pull it back a little bit to try and hopefully ease it to where people who maybe are in different countries or different parts of the states won't find it so difficult to read. But, you know, things like that were interesting to to get feedback on. And then, you know, beyond that, it was prepping to get physical copies, you know, ordered in time. I won't get them, unfortunately, in time for my release, but I hopefully will have them before the book presentation launch party that I'm going to have in mid-December. So cross my fingers they arrive in time for that because it's Christmas time and, you know, all orders are going to be probably slow. And then it was prepping to also have uh, the final versions because I still needed that final proofread after I got all the notes back from my ARC readers. Working with my proofreader on that to be like, oh, can you change these little things? Can you change these little things and all the little bits and pieces? And then marketing is still something that I have not perfected in any way, shape, or form. I know nothing about ads. I know nothing about, you know, doing any of the algorithm stuff. So it's really just word of mouth, throwing it out there to friends, family, different, you know, groups that I'm a part of, Instagram, having to chat with you
Yes.
is like is like my extent of reaching out to people. So it's yeah, and then all the delays that I had to deal with of just like, you know, extra editing time, getting the cover art settled, and you know all the little things like that. It's a trial. Yeah, it's like writing is hard, and then actually putting the book out there is even more work and 10 times the stress. Depending on whether you want people to read it or not. If you don't want to read it, then yeah, just you know throw the book up on Amazon and you know if some people come across it then great, but if you actually want people to read it, if you want to reach out to people and be like, hey, I have a really cool horror story if you would like to read it, or purchase it would be awesome, then yeah, it takes work.
I can imagine because I mean I talk to a lot of indie horror creators, and the number one issue is not the making the projects. Well, the funding can be somewhat, but it's marketing. It's getting in front of people's faces, and like there's it's a grind. You have to come onto the horror realm and all kinds of other different podcasts, and you have to go to book club, book signings and signings,
Oh
and you got
yeah.
to post on social media constantly, which I hate doing. You actually follow me on social media. Have you noticed that I have not been posting that much on social media? I used to like post constantly, but then I was just like,
Yeah.
am I killing people with this? Like, because you got to find a happy medium where I'm like, am I annoying people by posting daily? And like, so you got to find a happy medium.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did notice that you had dropped off a little bit, and so I was wondering, like, oh, have you like taken a break? Are you pulling back? Or you know, maybe you know, just a little overwhelmed, and you just wanted to take you know some chill time
That
for
too.
yourself. I was like, cool, yeah, you know, sometimes you just need to do that, and
Yeah.
also I also don't ever want to feel like I'm just like throwing my book in people's faces. So I
Uh,
even to the point where people are like, have you posted more about your book? I'm like, I don't want to. I just posted last week. Isn't that enough? Like, I don't
yeah.
know. I don't want to be like throwing it like down your throats or anything. So it's that really weird conflict of like, I want people to know about my book, and also I don't want to annoy people to the point where they don't want to read my book.
Yes.
Like,
It's
oh man,
unsubscribe
it's
to
like
my channel.
it drives me
Yeah.
crazy. And that it's like, it's almost like, hey, do you guys mind if I just do a quick post about my book? And then I'll go back to all my reviews because, like, obviously, I don't want to put it all on me. It's not all about me or my work.
Yeah.
It's about like just enjoyment and fun and Bookstagram and stuff. So yeah, it's so fun. It's almost like what's that like? Please, is it okay if I just like step out here for a second? And then also the idea of being in the public spotlight in any way, shape, or form is also terrifying for people who
It
don't
is.
like to, introverts. And I am at heart an introvert. I would be totally happy sitting on my couch watching a movie, reading a book, and like never speaking to people. So even more so stepping out of your comfort zone and being like, hi, I'm Hoku. I have a book. If you're interested in reading it, let me know. Like,
Yeah.
like instead of being the kind of person who's like out there and being like, I have a book, you have to read it, you have to read it, read it, read it, read it, just like pushing like that. It's more just like, if you want to read it, that's cool. Like,
Yeah, because it doesn't work either way. It doesn't not doing nothing and just over promoting. It's like you got to find that middle, and I still haven't found that middle yet. To be honest, I'm still
no.
working on where that middle is between posting every day and not posting at all. I can't find that happy medium. So so I can imagine it's a challenge for authors as well.
Oh yeah, I've tried to find my sweet spot of trying to post between like 3 to 5 things a week. Majority book reviews because I have a ton to review, so I definitely need to get through those. But then I try to also sprinkle in just a little bit of personal stuff. Like I started doing a Sunday snacks thing since I'm here in South Korea, and they have the craziest, coolest, fun, like delicious snack thing. So I try to be like, hey, I found this cute snack. It's delicious on Sundays, which I thought I'd try to see if I could do like a series of things of just fun, non book related stuff that's about me in a way. And then occasionally posting other random things aside from just books to see if I can stretch myself as a person and be like, here's a little bit more of a look into who I am. Also, I like to review books. Also, I like to travel. Also, here's my book every once in a while. But yeah, so trying to find that sweet spot. And then on the days when I'm just like, I don't have the energy to think of what to write and make my cute little graphic and then post my cute little like post whatever, then I'm just like, you know what, break day. It's break day. No one's gonna miss me. They'll come back when I post something else. It's fine. I can take 1 or 2 days off. I think once when I was just completely overwhelmed with like the writing and the editing and everything, I was like gone for 4 days. And I don't think anybody like even said a thing. So I'm like, it's not that I'm uh nobody cares. It's just that it's I have to get out of my head and be like, you know what, it's okay to take some time off and then come back when you're feeling like you're ready and you're excited to do something. Because as soon as it becomes like, oh, I have to post today, really, then it's like, okay, well then that's obviously not fun, and you're not going to be putting your best foot forward when you're trying to reach out to people. Like nobody wants to like talk to someone who's just like, hey, so here's
Yeah,
some stuff.
here's my book.
You like if you're not excited about it, why would they be? So yeah.
Because I mean, you brought up about me burning out, right? And
No,
like,
yeah.
yeah, kind of right. But I'm not even really doing anything. I'm having fun. I'm interviewing people. I do. This is what I do normally. I sit here with my mouth and I'm asking people questions. So this is fun to me. But like, I mean, as an author, you're actually coming up with like ideas or story, and then like on most indie authors, they also have a full time job where there's something else going on, a family. How do you put all that together and not burn out?
Yeah, I honestly don't know how other people do it. I don't have kids. My husband works and thankfully he's able to support me in my author journey, so I don't need to have like a secondary job. I did for a really long time, I had, just a part-time job to be in the background and be like, here's my little bit of like addition to all the money you make. But we got to a point where he's like, I got this. You said you've always wanted to be an author, like go for it. Like go if you want to do it like full time, go for it. Like I got your back. So yeah, like that was just like a huge like weight off me being like I can actually focus on this as a career. Like it is not a profitable career yet, but it is still something that I am pursuing like, maybe not 24 hours a day, but it is the main focus of my life now what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean like I can't, we can't still hang out, we can't still, go out to do stuff, travel and everything. Like thankfully it's something where even if we're on vacation and I need to like the most recent trip that we were on, I was like, I have to finish my book. I am on the last edit of the last time before I had to send it to my editor. So, even in our hotel room, I was like sitting at the desk, just like, I need 2 hours, I need 2 hours, I need 2 hours, I need 2 hours. Like, whatever you want to do, if you want to go to the pool, if you want to just like hang out, watch TV, whatever, just 2 hours. I just need 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, and just typing away. So there are moments like that where it's like, yes, this is my career. And then there are other moments where I'm like, this is a really fun hobby. This is just something that I can do and I could focus on, or I can like not focus on if I've got that spare time. But yeah, I'm very grateful and very fortunate that even though I am a full-time author, I don't have as much of other stresses that other people do. Like, even though I have a dog, he literally is just a giant cat that sleeps 20 hours a day. So other than taking him out for a walk on occasion, like again, he is like low stress. Most of my life is low stress, except for this one thing that I have decided to focus on for hopefully the rest of my life. I would love to be, an author that continues to go as long as I also don't get burnt out. Like with this last book, I'm going to take a little break after all this because it was way harder than the first one putting this together. So going to take a couple months off, and then once New Year hits, bam, I'm on my next project.
So what's one two-part question? What's one thing that you took from your first book to to the um to the Haven horror that you were like, this was a home run, I'm gonna do this again? And what's one thing that you were like, oh hell no, I'm never doing that again?
Okay, so funny thing about it being connected to my first book is this story, The Haven Horror, is actually based on a short story that was part of that collection originally. That collection was actually 15 stories when I first finished it, and then I whittled it down to 13 because my editor suggested that the two stories in particular were bigger than they were as short stories. She's like, there's a lot here that it's too much to kind of squish it into these short stories. You can really expand it. There's a lot more in these worlds. There's a lot more to like the meat of the story that even if you tried to stretch it out in that collection, it would make the collection way too long. These would be like, novellas amongst all the little stories. So I pulled both of those stories. This is one that I decided to work on first. Um, because the next one is going to be way more in depth with like Hawaiian culture. And it's been a long time since I've been home, so I have to do way more research than I can remember about my hometown there. So this one was like, okay, I'm thinking it's more like a Stephen Kingy, like small town, you know, people getting into this culty stuff. And the short story itself was almost like an outline for how I wanted the story to go, the first half of it anyway, in the 90s. And then I'd originally thought to do a second short story that would be the future, the present day part of it. So it was originally the idea was to do two short stories. So combining them into one long story was like this is perfect. This could totally be like if not a novella, maybe even a full like novel. So that was awesome. Being able to pull from uh I had my cover artist already, I had my editor already. So all those new things that I thought that I had to do all the research for, like that I had already gone through. So I knew the people to contact. I knew like how to set my deadlines, although I did break them. Like I needed like an extra, because I think when we originally met up, I was supposed to be like my book was going to publish at the same time this year as the other one did last year, October 1st, and that did not work out at all. It took way too long to edit and got pushed back 2 months. And honestly, I should have pushed it back another month because all the stress of trying to now meet this new deadline is even worse. So so the pluses were definitely having gone through this one time. I knew the people I needed to talk to eventually to get like my cover art and my editing done. I knew the basics of like what time period would be. I would need like 2 to 3 months for ARC readers to get as much information as possible before the book is published. I had the basic knowledge to get myself like, all right, this is what I need to do to get the book published. The part that I hated was not being prepared for the length of time it would be to write one full story instead of lots of little stories. Getting
Mm,
into one book mentality as opposed to like, oh, here's a short story. I can work on this one while this one's being looked at, and then I can jump back into this one. But focusing only on this is one book. All these little pieces need to match. The timeline has to be perfectly streamlined. What happens in the past has to reflect what happens in the present. So, like, trying to treat it as like every chapter was its own little short story, but it had to be interwoven into each other helped a little bit so that it didn't feel so much like one big project. But Yeah, I was not prepared coming from short story mode to novel mode to make that switch. So it's definitely something I would have tried to prepare myself for more by uh, I think outlining just a little bit more and I'm not. I'm more of a pantser. I just kind of like to go and like do whatever and not really have I like have like a basic idea in mind, beginning, middle, and end, but everything in between, I don't usually know where everything is going. I would have prepped a little more with that of like, okay, each scene, knowing where it was, each moment in time, like when is this happening? Like I had to map out the months of the year so I would know when everything was happening in regards to jumping back and forth. Like, okay, if this happens in June, then in August, I have to remember that that happened there. And I had to create like character sheets because I had to remember who was who, how old were they in the 90s, how old are they in the 2020s, how is this person connected to this person, where does this person live? Because I had to also create a town and know where all the people are. Like, how long does it take to get from this part of town to this part of town? How many people live here? What is the topography? It was, I've never done anything this involved. Like
Sounds like a
I have
lot.
maps.
Okay. Sounds
I've
like
never done anything like
it
this
sounds like
before.
you're trying to do an investigation for underground mob ringers or something. Yeah.
Oh man, like I had to do so much research on things, like population surveys. Like I found a little town in Texas that I based sort of like my model off of because I was like it's like around the same size that I want to be. It's about where I want my town to be up in northern Texas. So I was literally like Google mapping this place, like scrolling through, being like, okay, where are your churches? Where are they in relation to the rest of the town? What highways is it connected to? What's the surrounding area look like? I've got so many like screenshots of like Google Maps of this town and other towns nearby, like following the where the river is because it's next to a river that is actually in Texas. Yeah, but I feel like it was all necessary because if it didn't feel real to me, like putting this together, then, to your average reader, it wouldn't feel real to them either. And be like, oh, well, I have no idea where this is taking place. It doesn't feel like it's a real place at all. None of these characters feel real. So I feel like it was worth the investment, but oh my gosh, like that is oh, that was a lot.
It sounds like a lot. I the entire like listen to the process. I'm like, oh my goodness, it was put a lot in it. But listen, I'm enjoying reading your book right now. Thanks for sending me a copy over, by the way. Now, Hoku, how can everyone find you and your work?
So I'm mostly on Instagram at hoku.sorchi. From there, you can like check out my link tree that I have there because all of my books are on Amazon. I have my first book, which is My Dreadful Dreams, my
Love that
short story
cover.
collection. The new one will be coming out on December 1st, and that's going to be on Amazon as well. My Dreadful Dreams is also on audiobook. I don't have an audiobook this time. It just didn't work out with everything else I had to do. So, but the audiobook for the first book is everywhere that you can find it. Audible, Spotify, libraries too. I actually just got into libraries, so yay! I'm excited
Hey,
for that. But yeah, mostly just Instagram where I like to post like book reviews and occasionally post about my book and other random things about my life when I feel like sharing. But oh, and it's going to be on Kindle Unlimited. Both my books are on Kindle Unlimited. So
so let me
yes,
do my weekly plug of Kindle Unlimited. By the way,
absolutely.
Amazon, listen, you should hire me as a sponsor. Kindle Unlimited is the most amazing. Listen, I spend money on stupid services all the time. Kindle Unlimited is absolutely amazing. If you want to just give a book a try, it's great. You have unlimited books you can download and read. If you don't want to fill them, if you don't like them, you can stop reading them. It's great, but every page you get read, the author gets paid. So you are helping authors out. Plus, you can find that new author that you normally wouldn't find. Or, you're like, I'm on the fence. I don't want to spend $14.99 for a book.
Oh yeah.
Pay 1 fee a month and you can get unlimited books. Kindle Unlimited, definitely give it a try. Jeff Bezos, I want my check.
Yeah, I know, right? It's super helpful for authors as well. We do get, It's pennies, but it's still every little page turn helps when, especially if you just want to try something out and have never. I've found a lot of people through Kindle Unlimited
Yeah.
that I've never read before. So, yeah, definitely a huge plus, and check out Kindle Unlimited for sure.
Hopefully, it's always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
You
Getting to
too.
just chat about random stuff.
Yeah. Are you going to be at the book festival next year again in New Jersey, or?
Oh, I wish I could. I don't think I'm going to be in the States for it though, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay.
But I am getting to have like a little book launch here at our local library, and they were kind enough to let me have my own day of just like showcasing my book and talking about. I don't have a physical copy, so imagine it here.
Yes, it's right there. I'm actually putting, actually in the beginning, I'll put a picture of the cover up so people can see it's
Oh, yay,
amazing
thank
cover.
you. I appreciate it. It is so creepy. I love it. My
It
artist
is.
is so awesome. He does such great work.
Listen, everybody, go ahead and follow Hoku and look out for the Haven Heart. Oh, and listen, just go out there and you can pre-order it, right?
Yes, you can pre-order
Oh,
the ebook, and then it will be both the paperback and the on Kindle Unlimited. It'll be available on December 1st.
sweet. So, listen, if you want to do it, go ahead and pre-order it and grab yourself a copy. Hoku, it's always a blast to have you on.
Thank you so much, Travis. It was so nice to see you again.
Always, always. Everyone, thank you for coming to the Hard Rap. By the way, I don't say this enough. Please like and subscribe. And there's a new button, by the way,
Yes.
that's called Hype. Hype is amazing because it's free. And guess what? By hitting the hype button, it helps. Something that YouTube have done is help small creators like myself
Ooh,
to get recognized by people who normally wouldn't see it. So hit the hype button. Do the like
yes. I
button,
didn't
but
know
hit
about
the
that.
hype button. The hype button is amazing because it boosts this interview into the algorithm stratosphere. Jesus, so it's 9 o'clock and almost 10 o'clock at night here. And then if enough hypes come out, it becomes viral. And then guess what? Everybody will be grabbing a copy of the Haven Horror just because you hit that hype button.
Sweet. Yes. Hit that
Uh,
hype button. I'm gonna hit
yes.
it. Cool.
All right. Listen. Never mind. Listen, thank you for coming to another edition of the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Hoku Sorchi. We'll see you next time.
Bye,
Take care.
guys.